Oh, we're back at it. Still working on the track bar conversion mount. And they got two right here. Trying to get a better view of it. Now you got your top one, which just looks like it's the bracket, and that's all welded into the frame. This bottom one has this tab with nothing in it. And then this is like a stamped steel thing, and it's actually welded to that. So that what I want you to do is over here, this is where your ball joint came out for your track bar. I want you to grind that weld. Now mine stuck up real far back here. I could never get it flush. I kept grinding and grinding and grinding, and I'd keep getting back farther this way, and it would never sit flush on this to make it work on the other two mounting points, because you got 3 mounting points. I think you put some, I don't know if you put a bolt in here or what you're doing here, but that's further into the directions. But on the back side where your brake line is at, you got a bolt there, and then on the front where the frame rail's at, you got another bolt. So, and then here, this is the side. This is like right along in this spot. And this stuck up pretty far, and it was interfering with it too. So I want you to grind all this back. And that is welded to this part. So you got to imagine another piece coming from here going back like that. And then this stamp piece is welded right onto that. So they're wanting to grind this back too. So I've been messing with it, grinding on this area. And then there's a little area over here off to the side. When you're looking straight up at the bottom of it where your brake line's at, there's this stamp piece sticks out farther past the frame. So they want you to kind of nibble that off and get rid of that, because you have a bracket, your bracket slides up alongside that. So you got to have clearance for that. So you're grinding on this steel stamp piece that's welded to everything, and you're grinding on it here, and then you're grinding here. Well, I got the grinding so much on there, and it's not thick. It's 3/16 maybe stamped, and it's not very thick. But I got the grinding on it, and I thought, you know what, this is not working. I keep grinding. This thing is getting pretty thin now. It's not really doing anything. So if you stick your finger up behind, up in here on the top of the joint, where your nut would have been at, you can slide your finger through. Well, you can't get it all the way through because it's pretty tight, but it'll go through in there. So I just sat there and studied it for a minute, and I thought, well, this is either this is a later version and this is an early version, or vice versa. I don't know which. But if they're putting their conversion bracket on here, then it's okay there. And they're both, that's just all this is like a stamp. I don't know what this was. I don't know if this was like I said, I don't know if this was a later version where they went, oh, we need more reinforcement, or maybe this was an early one, and then they went, oh my gosh, this is expensive, we need to make it cheaper, which makes me think that this might be the later version, because you know how manufacturers are, and the bean counters. Oh yeah, that costs so much money to make, so we'll get rid of that and we'll just have that. So anyhow, so this is that, like whatever version it is, and your bracket goes on there. You don't have to grind anything on it. This, you have to grind. And I wasn't sure about that tab, whether it had to be removed or not. But I was getting back pretty far, having to grind to try and get this flush to where this spot here, where my bracket would sit right. So I finally just sat there and stared at it for a few minutes, and I went, we're going to take a different approach to this. And looked at it. And what we did, follow me under here, I have the whatever version now, because This thing sits on, all right, let me see here. That goes just like that, okay? So that goes like that. The hole's not used for anything. I am buying the upgrade that goes in here. Let me zoom out a little bit. I'm buying the upgrade that goes in here. And what it does is it has a nipple that sticks out, and then there's a bracket that goes across here, and this supports that. So it's going to give me more support on my frame. It's going to support my steering gearbox, and it'll help support this more. I have this. I didn't interfere with any of those welds. This bracket, the more I got grinding on it to try and take more stuff off to make this fit, because this was humped up right here where my middle finger's at. No, I'm not giving you the finger, but where my middle finger's at, this was humped up a lot. And the new bracket wouldn't sit flush on where it needed to be. So it needs to sit like that, and it has to be flush over here on your, well, you can see between the ears right there. It needs to sit flush on that. But it wouldn't do it because that hump from that stamp steel thing was there. So I took the old trusty grinds them all. I don't have a 4-inch. I don't own a 4-inch. I have 6s, 7s, 8s, 9s, no 4s. So 6-inch it was. So what I did, you probably use a 4-inch and a cutoff wheel. Just be careful because cutoff wheels will eat your lunch. So what I did, I just came back here and I cut it along that side, and then I cut it along here, and there was a gap there because it's welded up here. So it's welded, well, I don't even think it's welded up in this way. It's welded along here, along the bottom. So where I cut it at, there was a gap. So when I got through, you could tell there was a difference and in the sound of the grinder, and it quit cutting. Now you don't want to go whole hog in there and go grinding everything out and grind into your ear. You just want to get it, you might have to check it and see, but you just grind a little bit and check it, and grind a little bit and check it. And then I ground through the left side over here where my thumb's at, and got it, and threw a pair of pliers on it and peeled it back. And when I peeled it back, this spot, well, let me see here. This spot just kind of bent off. You can see how much I've been grinding on it. So, and I still had to go back farther to get my new bracket to work. So I was going to have to grind this off anyhow. So that's why I got to thinking, you know what? Cut it off, put it right over there in the Schrotus pile, clean this up, and I probably take a little bit, it's got the weld right there still. I could probably take a little bit more weld off of that, but it's sitting flush now. So, and it's sitting flush there. I got this ground out. So you're gonna have to cut this ear off and get it, I don't know if I can get any light in there or not, but you're gonna have to get it flush with that part of the frame. That's about all you really need. I just tapered it and cleaned it up a little bit for, you know, future use. That way I could cut myself. And then over here, I think that was it. And then you don't have to grind that. So that's if you have this stamped steel thing in there. That's kind of what I've done. And then that new bracket's going to go up there. Now I got to get in directions and find out, because I think I'd have to drill a hole up here someplace. And then I don't know what I do down here. The oil grease booger, put it right back where it came from. I don't know if you got to drill through here where the brake line's at and put a bolt through it, or what you got to do. But so here we are. Been, I don't know, 40 minutes, I guess, farting with this, or 30 minutes doing all this stuff. And the other thing I used, if you got one of these handy dandy tools, an industrial die grinder, I use that up in here to kind of clean that off. Just watch your eyes with the thing. It throws them little freaking burrs around, and them suckers hurt, especially when you get them in your eyes. So that's where we're at now. I'm gonna trudge along and see if I can get this to yep, brain fart again. Get this mounted up there, but I'm gonna have to go back in the directions and find out what we're drilling here. I know they were talking about holes, and I did talk about taking the tire off, but I'm just leaning up against the tire, so this is all right. And I'm on the ground. You don't have to have a lift to do this. It might be better because that way you're standing up, but I am kind of chillaxing here too, so we're all right. Anyhow, we'll be back for part 4.